Welcome back to In with Denoux.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to In with Denoux featuring Jordan Shannon. This week, we are just going to kind of have another fun episode. Not necessarily a palate cleanser episode, but you know, I took a trip out to Seattle about a month ago now, and I think actually almost exactly a month ago. And so we just kind of wanted to do a trip in review, talk about Seattle, talk about some of the things that we did. You know, Frasier is based in Seattle, one of our favorite shows, and maybe we'll chit chat about that a little bit. And last week we talked about our top 5 favorite TV shows, so maybe we'll kind of peek back into that, talk about some of that. I've been watching Big Bang Theory a bunch after Jordan put it in his top 5. I believe it was in your top 5, not one of your OLIs.
My number 3. That was my number 3.
So, yeah, I've been watching it a bunch, and it's hilarious. And I didn't know there was so many seasons. So anyway, so we'll just kind of get into some random things. We just kind of wanted to have a random day. We didn't have a topic that we were feeling super passionate about. So next week we'll kind of jump back on the train of talking about a topic. So we're just kind of chit chat. So hopefully you can relax with us, listen along. And but yeah, Jordan, how you doing? How's it going out there in Seattle? I know you got little John in the background. He might make an appearance at some point in the episode. So, but how you doing?
Yeah. Little man might make an appearance. He's enjoying Blue's Clues right now. Hopefully you don't hear Josh and Blue singing, but you know, if you do, like, hats off to them. They're great, and they have so many free programs on YouTube. John is a good guy, and he just lost his mind. So
an early appearance.
So he might make an early appearance, but things are good, man. Like, we love it out here. We like living out here. The thing that's probably taking most of my time nowadays is the new college football game just dropped, CFB 26, which is fun to play, but it's also ridiculously hard to play. So yeah. I'm like, man, these developers, y'all tripping. But I found myself getting back into like high school days of like, oh wow, like I used to play this all the time in 2005, 2006,
yep.
and it was so much fun, and now I'm kind of like losing sleep to that unnecessarily. Yeah. So.
I don't remember the last time that I played I used to play like college football and Madden like all the time, and I legitimately can't remember the last time that I played a sports video game, which is sad because the college football game was so much fun. Like I used to love that game so much. And I think, when did they stop making it? Like 2016, 2015?
2014.
2014.
Yeah, 2014. I said it was in 2014 or 2013. 2013.
Yeah. So a good long time. So they had like a 10 or 11 year hiatus or something like that, because it came back out in 24, I think, or 23.
It came out back in 24. Yeah, last summer. Came out last summer for the first time.
So I can't imagine how difficult it is, because like it wasn't like crazy difficult back in the day, but like I know that they've made it, you know, a lot more intuitive in terms of like how you throw the ball, the plays, all that type of stuff, how you defend. It's a little bit more involved.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Like you have to, you essentially have to, I feel like, to be good at this game now, you actually have had to like either coach football or have an idea for the game. And I'm not like a big scheme guy. Like I understand concepts and stuff, but I'm not a defensive schemer. I'm not an offensive schemer. So playing it sometimes feels like this really like appeals to a certain market, and that is to people who want to coach.
Yeah, I can see that. Even seeing little like short videos of people that they put up on like TikTok or YouTube or whatever, it just looks so involved. And so I could definitely see that. Like if people are coaches or aspiring coaches, that the newer games are probably really, really enjoyable for them, for sure. But if you're like a casual player, it's probably like fun still, but I'm sure it could be like frustrating at times, for sure too. So
all the time.
Yeah, but I'm sure it's super fun. TV's still intact, no holes in the wall.
TV still intact, no holes in walls, no thrown controller. I'm like,
oh man. Okay, so we just wanted to get into, I guess, my trip out there, which we probably should have done this sooner. It's been like a month, so I'm trying to like think back through the trip a little bit. But the first thing I kind of remember, um, so I landed in the evening, or I guess like late afternoon, and Jordan picked me up, and it was cool because we were like driving from the airport back to his and Emily's house, and Jordan kind of was like, so we were driving, and as soon as we kind of got on the highway, I had made a comment, and Jordan was like, "That's exactly what I said when I moved here," because we were like driving on the highway, and I was like, "Man, like I was like, this place is cool. Like I like this place because it's like, I guess the way that I saw it when I first got there, um, is that it is a big city. It's obviously not like a New York or Chicago size city, but it's a bigger city. But it has like so much more nature than you would think of like a big city. It's like very green. Obviously, it's right on the ocean, so there's a lot of water, mountains. So it kind of has like everything. It kind of reminded me a bit. So my sister lives in Maine. That's where this hat came from. And where she lives is a very small place. Like Maine. There's not a lot of big cities in Maine. It's not very populated anywhere. And she lives in the biggest city, and I feel like it's a tiny city. But it kind of had the same vibe of like a northern coastal area, which is so much different than like a California or Florida coastal area. Well, I guess parts of California is very similar to Seattle because it kind of gave me San Francisco vibes in some part of Seattle. But I guess more so of like East Coast, Southeast Coast, it's very different. So that was kind of my first impression. And Jordan was like, "Oh yeah, that's like exactly what I said when we first moved here." So, and y'all moved out there 2020?
2019. Oh, well,
2019.
You're right. We moved out here 2020, but we
Yeah.
we both visited in 2019, the year prior.
Right.
And it's kind of strange once that plane hits and you kind of get Uber or drive around on I-5, you get to see the evergreens on a clear day. You can see the mountain ranges, and it's like, man, this place is a vibe.
Yeah.
It is a whole vibe. Like and we were immediately just like in love with the area. So
Yeah.
yesterday actually we went hiking not too far from our place.
Nice.
And we kind of got to experience that. And Emily said the same thing. She's like, "I hope to never leave the Pacific Northwest." And I'm like, "Yeah,
wow.
same. I don't. I can't think of other places I'd want to live outside of maybe the Northeast, honestly. But like, I don't really have any other areas in the U.S. that I want to live outside of here."
That's crazy because like I think it's really cool when you move to a place because you guys moved out there for your job, and you're at a different university now than when you first moved out there. But it's cool when you move to a place and you're not like obviously you visited, but you had never been there for an extended period of time before you moved there. And so it's kind of, in some ways, for some people, it can be luck of the draw, of where you live and if you love it, if you like it. So I think it's pretty cool that you guys moved there and both of you, I sometimes, it's like one person loves it. The other person's like, it's okay, kind of thing. Yeah. And so, with my family moving to South Florida, like when I was young, because I was born and raised in Florida, but I was born in Sarasota, like near Tampa area, like a little south of Tampa. And we moved to South Florida when I was like 6 or 5 or something like that. And like now, after me and my sister are adults, we went to college, whatever. Like I'm kind of the only one in my family that like I love South Florida. Like South Florida is my home, like that's where I feel is my home. And I know like where you're born and stuff will always kind of be home, but like there's what is home in terms of where you were born, and then there's what's home, what feels like home, And so it's cool. It's cool that like Seattle feels like home for you now. And like, I'm kind of the only one in my family where South Florida like feels like home to me. Like it's like the place where, and this is what the vibe I get from you from like Seattle is that I remember when I was living in Gainesville and you were still down there at this point in time. And my friend Tim, who I actually lived with for several years in Fort Lauderdale, he was doing his first year. He's a firefighter, so he was doing his first year in Gainesville. And so him and I took a trip from Gainesville down to South Florida, and he was like visiting his mom or whatever. So I kind of tagged along because I hadn't been down to South Florida in like a really long time. And I remember we were driving and we got off the highway onto like Sunrise Boulevard, where, if you go down Sunrise Boulevard, it's where like Sawgrass Mall is, and the Florida Panthers arena is down Sunrise Boulevard. And so his mom used to live like kind of off of Sunrise Boulevard. So we get off the highway, we get on, and like as soon as we got off the highway, like into like kind of into Broward County, like I had never, to this day, I like never really felt, and I'm sure if I went back down now, like after having not been down a while, I feel this way. But I told Tim, I was like, dude, like it's so weird. I felt like physically like there was like a weight like lifted off my shoulders, like I'm home, and so I think it's cool that like Seattle seems like it's become that for y'all, where it's home, it's where you love, and it's a cool place. There's a lot of unique things there. So
Yeah.
so yeah.
It's funny because my parents obviously want us to move back to Florida, back east.
Right.
And there are times where I think about it in terms of like, it'd be nice to be near my parents or extended family, especially for John as he gets older and my parents gets older. But then, on a random day, Mount Rainier will pop out and I'm like, yeah, I'm not leaving here. It's just I got a good job. I got a good place.
Right.
Like we got a good community out here. So this, and now with Alaska, we can catch direct flights to Tokyo from here. So
Right.
Like to be able to kind of catch direct flights to Florida and to Japan from here is really good for our family. So
Yeah.
it's actually probably one of the best places to live for us.
Yeah. And for context, Emily's mom, Jordan's wife, her mom lives in Tokyo or in Japan, so that's why Jordan says that the direct flights from there to Tokyo is good for them. So so that's like, it's super cool. And Jordan talking about Mount Rainier, like I'll splice in a picture, and you might have a better picture, so maybe you can send me one. But I have a picture from when I was up there, and out there, like behind Jordan now, like if you look behind Jordan now, that sliding glass door that's behind him, I'm not sure on the screen if it will be to your right or to your left, but on a clear day, you can see Mount Rainier right out of their sliding glass door. And so I got a good picture on, I think it was the last day I was there, or last full day that I was there. The mountain became clear, because obviously, like, what's something that most everyone kind of knows Seattle for is that it rains a lot. And even though it didn't rain a bunch while I was there, I think only one day it rained, but it's still cloudy. Like even on like what you would consider like a clear day, like it has to be a perfectly clear day for the mountain to kind of come out and be super visible. So the last full day I was there, you could get a good view of it. So I'll splice in a picture to show you guys. But I can understand what you say of like, your parents wanting you to move back to Florida, but then, on a great day, you're just like, oh man, like the weather out there is nice. The view of the mountain, you have nature, you have the ocean, you have the mountains. And where you live, one of the other things Jordan was telling me while I was out there is that they're kind of 30 minutes from like a lot of different things, like on a good day of traffic, like 30 minutes from downtown Seattle, 30 minutes from Tacoma. And then there was one other thing you were saying, you were like 30 minutes from, I can't remember what the other.
Might have been like Bellevue.
Oh, yeah. Bellevue. Yeah. So I got out there on a Thursday, and it was kind of the evening, so we kind of just chilled that Thursday. But then Friday, Jordan took me around, and what's the neighborhood that you took me to? I know it starts with a B, right?
We took you to Cap Hill. I'm trying to think. We took you to Capitol Hill. That's where I work. But
the spot where there was like all the restaurants and stuff. The first place we went, where the pie place was closed down.
Oh, Ballard. Yeah.
Ballard.
Yeah. Ballard neighborhood. Yeah.
So we went to Ballard, which is like a cool spot. It's just like a neighborhood, but it has, it kind of has like a small downtown type vibe, like kind of thing, like kind of some brick streets, some bunch of restaurants and like cool areas, some cool bookstores, things like that. Unfortunately, there was like a pie place that Jordan loves, but that was getting renovated because we were going to get pie from there. It's called Pie Bar, but they were like rebranding or something like that, so we didn't get to do that. But Ballard was dope. So, and as we talk about it, I'll kind of put in some pictures from the places that we went. So we went to Ballard, then went to a friend of his place that was like had like a boathouse, which was super cool. It was like
Oh
kind of
yeah,
right near Putrid
right in
Sound.
Ballard Common, or not
Yeah,
Common, but the locks, right near the locks. They
yeah,
had a
yeah, by
house
the
right
locks.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So and we went to the locks, which is super cool. I've never really seen anything like that. Where I still don't. I don't know if I like 100% understand the. I guess because it's like saltwater and freshwater like meeting. So they have this apparatus that kind of like fills like this area where there's a boat and the water fills from one side and then the boat goes out and then it will fill and go out the other side, which is super dope. So I got a video of that, and so I'll see if I can splice in that too. I took like a lapse video of the water rising and the boat rising. So so we did that, and then we went downtown. Went through the University of Washington. Was like, I thought that was one of the more beautiful areas too, like driving in. I got a really good video of us driving in, and there's like it's almost like a tunnel of trees. Like it's it's like this super pretty. So that area was super dope. And then I think that was mostly what we did on the first day. And that day was actually my birthday, so that was kind of like the first full day I was there. And then yeah, there's just like it was just cool because no matter, again, it has to be a clear day, but once the mountains started peaking a little bit, like there was a few days, like I think there was 2 or 3 days where it's like you could kind of see it a little bit, like you could kind of see the outline through the clouds a few days. But it was just cool because there's so many different places that you could be in Seattle, and there's some sort of view of Mount Rainier. Like that's how prominent it is. So I know like when we were downtown, there's like a different angle. Like when you're at your house, there's a different angle. And so many different places, it's like, oh, that's where the mountain is, kind of thing. So I thought that was pretty cool too. It was kind of unique. So yeah. And then like Cap Hill, like the area where you worked, that was a cool spot. That's where we kind of saw the protests that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. And man, the brunch spot was so good, bro.
Yeah.
The brunch spot was so good.
Yeah.
Man, that place was a vibe too. Like the aesthetic, it was aesthetically pleasing, and the food was dope. So that's like, I love when places are like, just because I'm kind of like low key, like a decorative. Like I like to like, my house to look nice and things like that. So when like a restaurant is like aesthetically pleasing, it's like, I love that. And then when the food is, good, obviously that's the most important thing. But yeah, that was like super, super good. And then the bookstore attached. So that was the place that Jordan kind of mentioned it a little bit in the No Kings protest episode, where he was saying like the cafe and bookstore, they're like attached, and it's kind of in Frasier, there's in the show Frasier that we both love, which we learned is not Jordan's favorite show, but second favorite show. But
someone's still salty about that.
I'm not sorry. I was honestly just shocked. I was like, but then when I heard the reasoning and the show, I was like, okay, that's understandable. But but in the show, there's a cafe that they go to almost every episode. Not every episode, but almost. I would say like majority of the episodes, there's at least one scene.
90-95%.
Yeah. Like there's at least one short scene in there, and it's called Cafe Nervosa in the show. And then where Frasier lives is in the show is an apartment building called Elliott Bay Towers. And so the bookstore, like in real life when we were there, the bookstore is called Elliott Bay Bookstore, or Elliott Bay Books. And then what was the cafe called again?
The cafe was called Little Oddfellows.
Little
Oddfellows Cafe.
So yeah, so you have the cafe and then the bookstore, and the bookstore is super cool as well. And it doesn't necessarily like look like Cafe Nervosa from the show, but it's kind of like, based off of that area, and so so that was pretty dope.
And I know like that the Oddfellows, like in Cap Hill, it used to be on Elliott Bay, like on Elliott Ave downtown.
Yeah.
Like, so So I imagine like how it probably looked back in like the mid
Right.
2000s, late 90s. It probably reflected more of Nervosa from the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. And that was one thing like you were talking about, and I kind of agreed or like felt your frustration, I guess is the right word, is that it is a little odd that like Seattle doesn't embrace the show as much as like say like Sleepless in Seattle, you know. And I don't know if it's because like Seattle is in the name, like Sleepless in Seattle, but I feel like Frasier is probably the most notable piece of work that is like supposed to be based in Seattle. It was long standing, you know, 11 seasons, and they talk
Right.
a lot about the area and you know whatever. And obviously it wasn't filmed in Seattle except for one episode was fully filmed there. Um
Uh-huh.
but it's just I can't think of like outside of Sleepless in Seattle and Frasier. And I'm sure there's some other things, but I can't think of anything like that noteworthy where they mention Seattle. You know,
The
mention the
main one is
space
Grey's
needle.
Anatomy.
Okay, yeah. And obviously that's like super well known. I've just never seen it. I guess that's why I didn't think about it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
Grey's
That's true.
Anatomy gets a lot more love out here. And yeah, Sleepless in Seattle, which to me is more of a crime because I'm like, the majority of the movie doesn't even take place in Seattle.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
it follows Meg Ryan in New York.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true. That's true.
but yeah, so I'm kind of like Fraser would be perfect. Like he talks
Yeah,
about it all the time. Like talks
yeah,
about being from here. Like you could easily just like try to license something. And maybe they had some issues with Paramount or something. Like
yeah.
right, people who own rights.
That could be. That could be. And but yeah, just sorry, it's all tangent, and then we'll get back to the trip. But I guess this kind of goes long because we're talking about Seattle. But like, so I was saying, this week I've been kind of binging, um, Big Bang Theory. From last week's episode when we did our top five, Jordan had Big Bang Theory in there, and I'd never seen. I don't even think I had seen one episode at all. Like I had seen like you know I knew some of the characters, what they looked like and stuff, but I had never seen like a full episode. And so like when I've been going to sleep at night, I've been kind of like binge watching it, and then over the weekend. But I fell asleep at one point and it was just running, you know. So I woke up and it was like way past where I had been, and I think the funniest line that I've heard. So also the reason I kind of bring it up is that in Frasier, probably most people's favorite character is Niles Crane, and I was telling Jordan the other day that I feel like Sheldon, who is probably the most notable character on Big Bang Theory, is, in my opinion, he's like a mix between Dwight on The Office and Niles Crane and Frasier. So, and I say that because he's absolutely ridiculous with the things that he says, like Dwight. The things that he says are so out of pocket and crazy that it's like Dwight, but he's also super intelligent, like Niles. So it's like a combination, you know. And so when I was watching, I was like, "Yo, this is totally like Dwight. Like if Dwight and Niles, you know, had a baby, it would be it would it would be Sheldon."
Sheldon Cooper.
Yeah. But one of the funniest lines, and again, this was like I don't even know what season it was because I fell asleep and woke up and I was just like watching the episode. But there, Penny, the girl who lives across from them, is like dating some guy that's just like an idiot, and he they like knock on the door and it's Penny and her boyfriend or whatever, and then she's like, okay, like let's go, and he was like, no, I want to hang with my with my science buddies or whatever. And so they start talking about stuff, and the guy was like, I saw this cool thing on the Discovery Channel that if you kill a starfish that it just comes back to life. And Sheldon like he's like doing something, then he just like looks up, that look that he has, and he and he goes, was the starfish wearing underpants? Because you might have been watching Nickelodeon. And it was the hardest that I'd laughed in a long time.
Yeah,
I was like, yo.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I was watching an episode not too long ago. Penny's boyfriend, who thought he was smart, just as smart as they were,
Yeah.
but he's actually he's just dumb.
Yeah.
But there was another quote connected to that cracked me up. Was they were out watching stars, and it was the same guy. And he said, and Leonard and them were doing an experiment of how to reflect lasers off the moon to come back to their campsite. It was like a really cool, unique thing. Just like, we're going to send the laser up there, and it's going to reflect back onto where we are in our place on Earth. It's going to be really cool. And so the guy's like, "Hey, how do you know that it won't blow up?" He's like, "The laser? No, the moon." and so Sheldon just looks at him, and then Leonard says, "That's a great question." And Sheldon's like, "No, that's not." How could anyone possibly think that we're going to blow up the moon? Now that's a great question.
Oh, he is so out of pocket. I love that he's so smart that he has no social skills like at all. And so it's like the nuances of conversation where it's like you're just trying to be polite, and obviously where there's certain situations that happen where he says something and Leonard is like Sheldon, like, you shouldn't say that or whatever. And he's like, why not? And he's like, because it hurts her, you hurt her feelings or whatever. And he's like, what does feelings to have to do with it? It's like, it's only about being right for him, and it makes for so many funny moments where he's just like, the only thing that matters is correctness or being accurate.
Yep.
Oh man.
He's like, I want to have the accurate information, so I will tell you that you're wrong and show you how you're wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't care what you do to me about it.
Yeah. It's so funny though. I'm enjoying the show a lot. So I was like, and I didn't realize that it was 12 seasons long. So I was like, I could watch this for a while.
It was a success. It was a huge success.
Yeah. So, but anyways, it was just reminded me, the show's not like Frasier at all, but that character kind of reminds me of now. So I was just thinking about it from talking about Seattle and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so and then that Saturday when we went to that cafe, that's when we saw the No Kings protest, and we walked down to the fish market. The fish market is super cool too. And that's actually the one episode that they do film in Seattle in Frasier is Frasier Crane Day, and they're out in the town, they're walking. There's basically going to be like a rally or a parade for Frasier Crane for like his I can't remember 1,000 shows or something like that.
It's either called the 1,000th episode or Frasier Crane Day. One of those two episodes. One of those two movies.
Yeah. That's a really good episode. There's some really funny now lines in that episode. But that episode's filmed like all kind of like in the areas where we were walking and stuff like that. So, and then I felt really bad Saturday too, because we had made dinner reservations at this cool place you were looking forward to. And then you kind of had to go to a graduation that you didn't know about. So I kind of felt bad because you didn't get to go.
Yeah, I had a work commitment. I was like, oh, another meeting that sticks up on you.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought this was optional. I was like, no, you're going to actually be speaking. I was like, all right. I'm glad I can think on the fly.
Yeah.
And it went well. That work event went well. But
I'm glad it went well.
Did you like the restaurant?
Yeah, it was dope. That's why I felt bad, because like I know you've been there before, so it wasn't like it was going to be your first time and then you didn't get to go. But at the same time, it was just like, oh man, like it seemed like you were really looking forward to it. And the restaurant was dope. So it's called the Pink Door, and so it's actually like right up the street from the fish market, and it's like down this. It sounds like, when I say this, it sounds bad, but it was like a really cool. It's like down this alleyway. And the alleyway is just like a few shops and a few restaurants, but it's kind of like a cozy alleyway. It's not this like New York City, like dingy alleyway. And so it's kind of just like this cozy area. And then the restaurant, it has no signage at all. It's literally just like a pink door. And I'll post a picture too. But kind of like a pinkish salmon door, and it's like this metal door. It just looks kind of like not ominous, but I feel like if I just walk past it, I wouldn't think like, that's like a restaurant.
Like an ordinary door, or like maybe not ordinary door, but like a vault almost. Like
like a vault.
Pink vault door. Yeah.
It's literally like it almost looks like a vault. But when they open the door, and so it's like and it was kind of like tangent a little bit, because it was just kind of funny to me. So basically, Jordan had to go to this event, but we already had reservations. So Emily and I and little John, we still went to the restaurant, and then we ordered food to go for Jordan. But and then met him at the school where his event was. And so when we went, So basically they have lunch service and then they close down like a lot of nicer restaurants and then they reopen for dinner. So we got there like in between the lunch and dinner, and it was maybe like 30 minutes before our reservation for dinner. And they had these two lines outside the door. And one was like a reservation line where if you had made a reservation, you stood in that line. And then they had just like a walk in line where you just had kind of who knows how long the wait's going to be kind of thing. And so we had got there early enough where I was like the first one in the like reservation line. And it was just so funny because I'm like a tourist, like I've never been there before, but I just was the first, happened to be the first one in the reservation line. And I can't tell you how many people like came up, and there's signs, bro. There's like the reason I knew to stand where I was is because there's literally signs, and there's like a sign on the actual pink door that says that they are closed, like in between. Well, so there was like the sign on the door that said they were closed, and then they were reopening for dinner at 5 o'clock, I think it was. And then so there was that sign on the door, and then there was two like little posts with signs on them, and it said reservation line and it said non-reservation line. And to me, I was like, I was the first one there, so I just read those signs and I got in the line that applied to me. And I probably had like 10 or 12 people like come up and they're like, and to ask if it's the pink door, I understood because there's no signage or whatever. You kind of just have to know that's where it is. So that question, I was like, okay, like I can understand that. Like there's no signage or whatever. So there was a few people that were like, oh, is this the pink door? And I was like, oh, yeah, this is it kind of thing. But then there was just people who kept asking like the same question of like the line thing. And so eventually I was trying not to be rude, but people kept asking me. So at some point I was just like, hey, like this is my first time here. I'm like, what these signs say, like that's all I know. You know, because after they asked that, they kind of kept asking questions. And I was like, hey, like, I don't know. Like, I know what these signs say. That's kind of it. And it got so ridiculous that the people that were behind me in line, they leaned over at one point. And they were like, oh, they were like, they should pay you. Kind of thing. Because there was like so many people kept asking the same thing like over and over. And there was only one person where I was like, okay, because I could tell like this person that English was their second language. So I was like, okay, like I could tell they just were having a hard time understanding like what to do. So I was trying to like explain to them, but everybody else I was just like, look, there's signs right here. Like I read these signs and I followed the instructions. Like that's all I did. But anyways, once you go in, it's like this cool restaurant area, and then they have a patio area that looks out to it. Would that be Puget Sound? Would that be what that is there?
Yeah, it's like an enclosed patio because there's like still a roof over it, but you're outside.
Yeah. And the water that you see there is Puget Sound, right?
Puget Sound. Yep.
So you could see kind of like the water area and just the kind of like mountains beyond that and stuff. So it was a really, really cool place, and then the food was really, really good too. So, but it was just like a vibe. Like I saw, like there was when we were eating, I saw there was like a girl that was sitting like nearby us or whatever, and she was just like by herself, but she had a table that was just looking out to the sound, and she was just kind of like having some wine, like having her lunch, like reading a book. And I was like, yo, like that's such a chill vibe, you know? Like the restaurant was just the weather was really good that day too. So it was like the temperature was beautiful to sit out on the patio, and then the view, it was just so chill. Like I was looking at that girl and I was like, yo, like I know some people look at people and they're like, oh, like they're eating alone or whatever. I was looking at her and I was like, yo, that's like dope. Like that's like a cool way to spend the evening, you know, like reading a book, having a glass of wine, like nice little view.
Heck yeah.
So I was like, man, she's like vibing right now. But yeah, it was just a super cool place. So I just felt bad that Jordan couldn't be there. But and then they didn't even have like what he was looking forward to eating. But because it was like
I'm like, you know what? It's what it is, and I'm glad you got to try.
Yeah. It's so funny too because so when I say this, like it's not like a nice place can't have like certain items. But when you describe, because basically when Jordan was describing the restaurant to me before we went, he was saying what he gets is like, he was like, they have the best meatball sub. And I like a meatball sub is one of my favorite things. I love meatball subs. But like when I was picturing the place and meatball sub, I was not picturing what it was. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like I was picturing more of like it's not that it was like a super fancy place, but it was just the vibe is that if you got really dressed up, you wouldn't be out of place. But if you were dressed down, you also weren't out of place. Like, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It kind of was like, it could fit any occasion is I guess what I'm trying to say. And so But yeah, the Pink Door. So if you're ever in Seattle, check out the Pink Door. And no, there's
Oh
no
yeah.
signage. You just got to find the Pink Door. So, but yeah, that
There's
place
no
was dope.
sign, just pink door, and then
Yeah,
and it's that pink door leads to some pretty cool leads to a pretty cool
yeah,
spot.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess they have like rotating stuff off the menu, right? Because the thing that I wanted, what we wanted was like
They
this
they
ball.
said it was like a lunch. It was only on their lunch menu, is what they said. Yeah, 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 yeah. So they still had it. It was just only on their lunch menu. So, but I still got I got a like rigatoni. I think it was rigatoni and the meatballs, and it was really really good. So, but I saw like a bunch of things come out like from the kitchen and stuff, and servers walking by, and everything I saw looked delicious. So, but yeah, but yeah, the downtown area was dope. Um, and yeah, that restaurant is dope. The Pink Door, check it out. I would definitely say it's more of a salmon colored door, but that's just me. But
Mm, they love their salmon out there.
yeah, I was like,
I like
is
to
this
think of
pink?
it as peach.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like, this door could be pinker to be called the Pink Door. No, but it was dope. It was dope. It was a super cool restaurant, and then yeah, and then the fish market was dope too. Like um, I would definitely go back there because I felt like you could spend like a whole day in that area. Because we kind of worked our way through the fish market quickly. Um, but yeah, it was just because when you see it, like I think I said this to y'all too, like when we were there, is that when you see it, it doesn't look that big, but when you go in, it's
Right.
like massive. Like there's like
You enter it,
levels.
yeah, it's like
Yeah,
multiple levels. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's massive. Yeah, the
yeah,
Pike Place Fish Market is just it's really cool. It's a whole you can spend a whole day just there and you'll
yeah,
have fun.
yep,
Honestly,
yeah. And then I unfortunately didn't get a video because I would put it in, I would splice it in, but we got to see one of the famous thing there is that they like throw the fish, or whatever. And so it kept kind of like popping up so quick that I didn't get a video of it. But we got to see the tossing of the fish, which was pretty cool. And but yeah, and there's just a bunch of shops and food and restaurants, and so they had like samples and stuff too of things. So like at the area where they toss the fish, they had this like smoked salmon that they were passing out, and that was like some of the best. Like I only had one little bite, but it was like some of the best salmon that I've ever had in my life. It was so good. And then randomly you had like blueberries that were like unbelievably good too that y'all bought. But yeah, so and we got to go to the baseball game the next day.
yeah, we got the Mariners game for Father's
So
Day.
yeah, on Father's Day, which was super super cool, and it was probably the quickest baseball game that I've ever been to in my life.
Yeah, it was like
Less than 2 hours, which is crazy. Like if you've ever been to a baseball game, you're usually there bare minimum 3 hours, I would say.
Yeah,
So because I was thinking about, so I went to a baseball game a couple months ago with my dad, and it was a college baseball game, but it was the same time, like same, they played 9 innings and everything, and it felt like the longest game ever. Like the game started I think at 7, and I think we left at like 11 or something like that. And granted, it went to extra innings, but they only played one extra inning.
yeah.
So
But
to be
still,
less
four
than
hours.
yeah, yeah, but to be less than 2 hours for like a professional baseball game is wild, wild.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but the I liked the stadium a lot. The stadium was super cool. Like the area where we sat, you could kind of see the skyline of the downtown area and whatnot. So yeah, it was nice. And I know Seattle's not like a terrible team this year, but they're not super super great. So it was good attendance, but it was nice because we kind of had space. Like there wasn't a lot of people around us, so it was super chill. So super super chill. And then any other highlights from the trip that you can think of?
Oh man, I don't think we got to go to Cary Park. We got
Cary
to
Park
go
was
to
dope.
Starbucks Reserve.
Yeah,
Trying to think. We did Ballard. We got to go to U Village and go to Hello Robin,
yep,
at the
yep.
local cookies and ice cream
Oh
spot.
man, that place was so good.
Yeah, man, so good,
I
so good.
I ate too much. That was the day. So I think that was the day we had pizza. Did we have pizza that day, or was that
I
the?
think we did have pizza. Yeah.
Yeah, so we had pizza, which was actually really good. So we had pizza.
Well, because it was right before. Yeah, we had Pagliacci. That's right. Because
Yeah,
I wanted to
yeah,
get fish and chips. But yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
The place was kind of it was an area, it was hard to park, so we ended up just doing pizza. So
Mhm.
um, so we did the pizza, and then we went to this like ice cream slash cookie shop, and
Mhm.
they had this where basically you could either just get ice cream or just get cookies, or they had like the where you could basically get like an ice cream sandwich cookie or whatever. And
Some
so
cookies. Yeah.
yeah, and so I didn't realize like when I was ordering it, I thought they just put the ice cream like on the cookie, so you had like you just held it. But then it came in this cup with like a ton of ice cream and two cookies, and I was like, "Oh my gosh! If I had known it came like this, I would have just got like they had a option with just one cookie." And I was like, "Oh, you can't
Yeah,
get an
right.
ice cream sandwich with one cookie," because in my mind I'm picturing like holding it, but it came in this big cup, and I was like, but I felt like I didn't
Yeah.
want to waste I didn't want to waste it, so I was like downing it. Oh man, it was so good
These are
though.
definitely not handheld.
No, no, no. It was too much to hold. But yeah, the cookies were super good, and the ice cream. And I just got like because again, I was thinking of it of like an actual like ice cream sandwich thing. So I got like chocolate chip cookies, and then I just got like the vanilla bean ice cream or whatever. But the ice cream was like I'm not a huge vanilla fan either, like just plain vanilla. But it was even if I didn't have the cookies, like just the vanilla ice cream was like delicious. So it was like real like vanilla bean. So
Did you have a
yeah.
favorite part of the trip? Like
So
thinking about all of it.
so I honestly like, and I'm not trying to just sound like cheesy or corny or whatever, but like a big part of the trip was like we hadn't seen each other in a long time. So I feel like the highlight was just being able to hang with like you and Emily
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Lil John, and like all the talking we got to do and hanging we got to do. But I think the area, if I could say like the area that I really really liked, where I was like, man, next time I go, like I'd love to. I think like the fish market and going to Pink Door, but then I don't know what it was called, but it was near the fish market. But the area like right before you went to your event on Saturday, we were at like the pier area, like down where like the aquarium was and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure what that area is called, but
Miners Landing, like it had all the different shops
yeah,
and had
yeah.
like the Ferris wheel.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that
Miners Landing.
area, I thought that area was super dope, and that was the area that I was saying to that kind of reminded me of San Francisco a little bit, like Pier. I think the famous pier, I think it's called Pier 66 or something like that in San Francisco.
Mhm.
It kind of reminded me of that, and that's where I went for my 30th birthday was San Francisco, and so it kind of gave me the similar vibes, and so I think like Saturday was my favorite day in terms of we were all together. Like obviously Friday it was me, you, and John, and Emily was working. But on
Yeah.
Saturday it was like all of us. We got to take the train, which was cool. So I think like the
Thinking light
full,
rail. Yeah.
yeah, like the full Saturday I think was probably my favorite like day. And then that area, that last little area we were with you was I just really liked that area where you could see the water, and I would love to go back. I know we talked about maybe next time like going to the aquarium because I know you said you guys haven't been to the aquarium yet,
Yep.
but the
Well, it's
aquarium
so
looked
funny.
super
Emily and
cool.
I the other day was just talking. We were like, so have we convinced Chase to move here?
TBD, TBD. I
Hmm.
think to be honest though, I think it was enough to where it was like if I got a job out there or if I had something set up to move out there, like I would like strongly consider it because I was like, I feel like
Yeah.
there's not a ton of places that I've been where I'm like, oh yeah, like I could see myself living here. Like I would like one of the few places that I felt that way about is Dallas. Like I really like Dallas area, and I know that Emily actually
Hmm.
lived there, was living there when you met her, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
and so I have yeah, like I have my aunts and uncles on my mom's side and cousins and stuff live there, and they technically live in Fort Worth, which is like Fort Worth is like the Fort Lauderdale to Dallas's Miami, I guess is what you would say,
Oh
kind of
yeah,
thing.
Fort Worth.
So yeah, they're like 30, 45 minutes apart, and obviously Dallas is bigger, but I guess more so I would say Fort Worth. Like I like Dallas too, but Fort Worth I like a lot. Like the area, the size, it's not like super huge, but it's also not like a small town or anything. So that, and then, but yeah, when I was out in Seattle, I was like, man, like I really do like the area, and I do think it would take some like getting used to because it's just so different from anywhere that I've lived. But I do think like I guess the way that I felt about it, hopefully this will make sense, is that it felt like a peaceful place. Like, and I know that, I know there's probably, if you're driving in traffic and stuff like that, it might not feel peaceful, but it felt like there was a lot, like, it felt like there was a lot of like potential for like different ways to like, and I think what's like, especially at this juncture in my life, like going through kind of a mind shift of, where I thought I was going to where now I'm seemingly going, which I know is very vague, but that's kind of all I'm willing to share right now. But I think like, finding like peaceful places to be able to pray, to be able to read, to kind of be able to just like be in nature and things like that is, I think, something that I'm going to find a lot of importance in my next like place where I live. So I think like obviously South Florida is home for me. Like if I ended up back there, I would be happy because I feel that way in South Florida. Like what I would do to kind of find peace lots of times was go to the beach at night. Because I'm actually like, believe it or not, I'm not really that much, having grown up in Florida. Like I'm not a huge beach person in terms of like going to the beach during the day and like going in the water and all that stuff. But at night, I find it like super, super peaceful where there's like much less people. It's more quiet. You can just like hear the waves. You can see the star. Well, sometimes you can see the stars depending on where you're at. But yeah, like I kind of got that vibe, but like in a different way in Seattle, where it's like, it was like, okay, it feels like, if I moved out here, like maybe I would get into like kayaking or, a lot more hiking. I know we talked about like next time I come out there, like doing so orcas are like my favorite animals, like going on like a orca watching tour. And there's just like a lot of unique things out there that could become like hobbies, I guess, and so I felt that when I was out there, where I was like, okay, like if I moved out this way, I feel like I would be a lot more like outdoorsy than I am now. Like now, like I'll go on walks, and for me, like in my life, outdoors meant sports, like that's kind of what it meant, was like, if I'm outdoors, I'm playing basketball or I'm playing football or I'm playing frisbee. It wasn't like I'm camping or I'm going on a nature trail, or I guess in Florida, like I did go to the beach a lot, as a kid, or the pool, but it felt like, okay, out here I could really like go into nature and go camping or go kayaking and kind of connect with God in a different way, in a different place, kind of thing. And so I kind of did feel that, like I started to kind of picture it and imagine it. So it's definitely something that's like in the back of my mind where, one of these days, if an opportunity opened up to go out there, I wouldn't like shut it down for sure. So but, and obviously,
plenty
like,
of hobbies to get into. Plenty of stuff to get into.
And obviously, like you being out there, like you and Emily being out there, and it was cool because obviously, like I had met Emily before, but I had never really like spent extended time, with her, because the most extended time I spent with her was like y'all's wedding, but obviously,
It's true.
It wasn't like I was able to like talk to her a bunch that weekend of y'all's wedding. So that was super cool to be able to like connect with her, and it felt like super easy just to be with y'all's family and stuff like that. So that's obviously like would be a big part of it too, is, I would definitely, I wouldn't be necessarily opposed to moving to a place where I didn't know people, but when you know someone, at least one person that, like I have that bond with, it's a lot easier to move to a new place, when you have a deep connection there.
I felt that way about certain places too.
Yeah.
I told myself if I were to move back to Florida, it would be South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Miami area. Just because of all like the relationships down there. But then I'm also thinking like, if there's places I'm moving, like I remember when Nolan and Aaron, when they lived in Virginia,
Right.
I strongly considered moving to Northern Virginia at the time, because I liked the area. It was suburbs, not too far from the DMV. It was part of the the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. Like it was all where they were. So I liked that aspect. But it just never worked out, and then they ended up moving back to Orlando. But I think about that all the time. I'm like, okay, now that we're out here, it's really more now either here or the Northeast, though. So it's like, because we really liked our time in New York. We like Jersey. We like Pennsylvania. We like Massachusetts. So if we weren't living in the Northwest, we would probably we're definitely Northerners now.
Yeah, it's funny because like I will say that I liked Seattle immensely more than I like the Northeast. So and I just can't picture myself living in the Northeast. I'm just not a big fan. And I know like it seems like to me like when I talk to people, it's like a place that you love or you hate. There's not much in between. And it's funny because my sister does live in the Northeast. Now, granted, she's in Maine, which is very, very different than like Boston per se. You know, like I don't like Boston is a cool city. Like I've been there two or three times. And it's a cool city. Like it's a city that I think is cool to visit. But when I'm there, I'm like, I don't think I would enjoy living here like much at all. So I don't know. I just the Northeast. Like I guess the Northeast is very vague too. Like what all do I mean by North? Like I guess I more so mean New England. Like the New England area. I'm like, and I have a few really really good friends that from college that live in New Hampshire and stuff like that. But and again, those places are great areas. I just don't. I couldn't picture myself living there necessarily. Like I love to visit my sister in Maine. Like Maine is beautiful. I mean the state, every state kind of has like the little, motto or whatever. And there it's like vacation land or whatever, is Maine. And I see why it's called that. It's like beautiful, man. And there's not a ton of people, so it doesn't feel like crowded or whatever. And there's like so many lakes. You have the coast as well. There's mountains, there's river, there's kind of everything there. And it's beautiful. But again, like it's just a place I would love to visit. But I didn't get that vibe from Seattle. Like I was like, okay, like I could see myself living in Seattle, like it's not a place where I was like, I would like to visit here, but I don't know if I would like to live here. So,
yeah.
So, but yeah, I think there's only a few places like obviously South Florida and then out there. And then the only other like outside of, and then obviously I said Fort Worth or Dallas area. And then the only other place where I'm like, I haven't spent enough time there to be like, okay, I could live there, but is like Nashville is where Justin and Ashley are at, who are, two of my really good friends. So, and I know they love it there, and it's apparently a really great area. And the one time I did go there, I liked it, but I didn't see enough of the area to get that vibe of like, what could I like live here, kind of thing.
That's me. So, yeah.
But yeah, and then you bringing up Northern Virginia, it's funny because I always forget that Nolan and Aaron lived out there. I don't know why, like that period of time, I totally forget that they were there.
It was very short though. Think about it. It was like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And then they moved back. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and they're down in Orlando. Orlando's not a place I would ever go again. I hated living in Orlando. It was the worst.
The only people I know who love Orlando are those who are from Orlando.
Yes, bro. I'll give it to them that they're probably the most loyal to that place than most other places. Like if you're from Orlando, you have this irrational love for Orlando. Shout out to my Orlando people. I love y'all. Honestly, I have like the thing is too is that there's so many great people that live there that I know too. Like there's so many wonderful, wonderful people in Orlando. But I'm just like, I'm sorry, y'all, I can't do it. Couldn't live there. So, and I'm not a big fan of Orlando. But yeah. So, all right, we're coming up on an hour, which is crazy. It felt like we've been talking for like 20 minutes. So, okay, so I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and to be completely honest, I feel like I've put it off because I feel weird about it. But to all our listeners, and I know we don't have a ton of listeners yet, but as we grow, I'm hoping that we can gain some more support. So if y'all are, the handful to like 10, 12, 15 people that are kind of like watching religiously every week, and family, we definitely want to ask y'all to please keep supporting us. We really, really appreciate it. We'd love it if y'all would, share on your social medias, share the podcast on your Instagram, on your Facebook, wherever it is that you're on social, make sure to shout us out if you're willing. We also have created a page. We actually created it a long time ago, but again, I just feel very uncomfortable promoting it. But I created a page. It's called coffee.com, and it's like KO-WI or FI. I mean, it's supposed to be like Wi-Fi, but coffee. And so it's KO-FI.com/InWithDenoux. And basically, it's a little page where for those of you who really want to support us, you can like drop it's basically like a digital coffee where you drop $5 and it's just donating to the page. And we want to be clear, like please do not feel like we're asking you like, please go donate money. It's not like we need, money or whatever, but in the early goings of the show, all the money that's donated, we're going to put it back into the show. So we would love to like, get Jordan a mic like this, and basically just make it to where your experience watching it is better, whether it's visual, if you're watching on YouTube. I have like a ring light behind me and I'm using my phone as a camera, which is great. It's perfect. But just getting some of that stuff for Jordan, and I'm still figuring out, like, I'm learning. I'm grateful for our friend AJ Francis, who was with us in Gainesville. Like, he's been a super support, like probably the person that's like messaged me the most of like support of the show, suggestions and advice, which like he's so good at like editing and like photography and things like that like some of the things he's saying, I'm like, oh man, I'm overwhelmed, dude. So AJ, shout out, bro. I appreciate you a lot. And I'm gonna try to implement some of the things that you've given me advice on. And eventually, like when I'm in a position to, I want to like pay AJ and like maybe get some help from him on some of this stuff. But he's been like super great. He's like messaging me like a bunch about the show. But anyways, if you are someone that listens and if you feel like you want to, and again, it's something that we don't want to feel like like we're trying to ask people to give us money or anything like that. But if you're genuinely enjoying the show and you'd like to drop a donation, you can do so there. Again, it's ko-fi.com/inwithdenoux. So I'm going to double check that to make sure it's correct. Yes, ko-fi.com/inwithdenoux. And again, don't feel obligated, but if you ever do want to, drop us a donation, again, in the early goings, it's going to be all go back into the show for sound things, for picture things, for this software that we're using to record. That's something, we pay for monthly. So it's all going to go towards those things. So we would really appreciate it. And, in the future, we would definitely want to set up things where, certain people that share the page on their social or drop us a donation, we hope to have, like, I'm going to try to get some merch, maybe some stickers with our logo or, some t-shirts or things like that. But we'll definitely shout you out on the show in the early goings before we have all that stuff. And again, please like, comment, subscribe, drop the things that you love that we're doing. Drop us suggestions of things you want to hear. Like if you want us to do a series, like, maybe a spiritual series, maybe a series about like, things going on in the world. Like as you guys can see from the early goings of, I think we've had like 5 episodes or something like that we're willing to talk about whatever. Like we're willing to talk about our spiritual lives, the protests that are going on. Like we kind of want this show to be a variety of like, we want it to be where we're helping people. Like I think that's the main thing we want to do. But we want to be vulnerable. We want to be real about the things that are going on. We don't want to shy away from controversial topics. We want to have fun as well. Last week when we did the top 5 episode, we were just like, man, we should do more of these with like sports, with movies, with all these different things. So the palate cleanser episodes might become like top 5s for a while where we do that. But yeah, if you have ideas, if you have suggestions, if you have things that you love about the show, we'd love to hear them. We definitely want to grow our engagement. Definitely go follow our TikTok page as well. I'm trying to post clips from the show, but then I'm doing some individual posts on there as well. I have a series on there that's like the characteristics of Jesus. So I did 7 days of the characteristics of Jesus that are up on there. But yeah, we'd love if you guys could just support us by sharing it on your socials and letting us know what you think would be a great start. So, but thank you again for joining us. We really appreciate it. Thank you for listening to that little rant at the end. We hope that you enjoyed just a little walk through my trip in Seattle and just some of the things that we enjoyed. And yeah, let us know some places that you love to go, some things you love about the places that you live or have lived. And we will see you next week. So thank you again for joining us. We love you guys, and we are signing off.
Be out.